YouTube. So today what we're gonna do is just like the sandblasting booth video that I either posted or I'm gonna be posting shortly after this one or before this one, doesn't really matter. Anyways, so just like that video, I'm gonna make a booth for painting. So we have the blasting cabinet ready to rock and roll, and now we're gonna need a painting cabinet for airbrushing or a smaller air gun. Okay, so this is gonna be a work in progress, you know, because I'm gonna design it to get the basic fundamentals down, and everything's gonna be adaptable for the future, you know. So how you hang your parts, what stands you put in there to hold your parts, that's all gonna be dependent on you. I could briefly go over maybe the direction I might go, but not 100% sure on it yet, only because I need to paint with it first and kind of get the feel of my area, my volume, and how much I'm painting, the part sizes that I'm painting, and justify that before I go into and devoting time into either 3D printing stands or buying stands to hold certain type of parts and going that route. So for now, today, what we're doing with this is making the basic fundamental spray booth concept and how much it's going to cost, what tools you're going to need to get you to this point. Okay, I see a few videos of people making their spray cabinets out of wood, out of different materials, out of plastic things like this, but they're using hacksaws and just cutting into it, and to be honest, I don't like that. I want to make sure my stuff looks good, even though it's got to get paint on it. I want to make sure it looks good, and it's easily the ability to tuck it away and put it up and condense everything into one area is key to my design and the way I want to do this stuff. Okay, so first things first, we're gonna need fans. Okay, so the first thing you want to do, these fans are axial fan series roof fan kit is what these are called, AC powered. Their dimensions are 4.7 by 4.7 by 1.5 inches. Okay, so they come with this little pamphlet. This might have a template or something, I'm not completely sure. Hardware kit, your plug, regular plug, not 12 volts, 110. Okay, in the future I'm going to splice this plug into one circuit and have an on and off switch for this type of stuff. Okay, but like I said, I gotta get used to it and see what I need and what I like. Okay, and then it comes with the grills, and then you get your fan. Okay, so these are all metal housing. It's a plastic fan, and it tells you the airflow and the direction of the flow right here by the plug-in. So where you plug this into it, it tells you the direction that it's going to be blowing or sucking or whatever you're going to use this for. Okay, these are decently quiet. They spin pretty fast. I plugged it in to see what it would do. Okay, and so that's what you get with this. I believe I paid $13 per fan, so I decided to go with 2 of them, only because I'm gonna have a larger spray booth, and I'll show you right now all that stuff. So 2 of these on Amazon. Okay, and then of course you don't want your fan getting gunked up with paint material, paint media. Depending on what type of paint you're using will depend on how you would clean it and stuff, but you don't want to use solvents on this plastic. So what I got is 2 of these guards here. These were like 10 bucks. These are grease guards for overhead vents, ventilation systems for your stoves. Okay, so the ones I have here were the cheapest. They were a 2-pack. I think these are like, say $5 or $10. I'm not completely sure, but these are the cheapest ones that they had. You could go with larger ones. I was looking for a larger one, but I didn't want to spend $20 on this stuff, you know. Try to keep it as budget friendly as possible because paint's going to get on it. Okay, so I got this so it could filter out all the I want to say liquid based stuff or oil based stuff, whatever it is you spray, water based. Hopefully this will filter it out. A lot of people use those AC filters, so the ones that go on your AC to filter all the air and stuff. They use that instead of this. The reason why I didn't want to go that route is because this is made for heavier contaminants, okay, oils. And it filters out pretty good the heavier contaminants. The AC is more for dust and smaller debris. So when you're spraying, those things are gonna get plugged up really fast and you won't have no airflow at that point. So I decided to go this route, okay? If you don't have enough airflow, you could always install more of these fans. So make sure when you're drilling these out for your size of cabinet that you measure them out either in quadrants or thirds or whatever it is that you decide to do. Make sure that it's future proof, so you could add additional fans in those areas that have the voids if you need more suction power. If you put, like, say one here and one here, right, and they're too close together, now you can't put one in the center, and now you got to buy additional 2 more for the outsides. Okay, so if you space those out where you could put one still in the center and then 2 on the outside, you're future proofing for an issue or potential issue in the future. Okay, so keep that in mind when doing this stuff. You're gonna need your drill, of course. This hole saw is the same hole saw I used in the last video. It is 4 1/4 inches. So whatever size fan you have should determine the diameter that you're gonna need. So that way that could get all sucked and pulled into one direction. Just remember, I 3D print, so I could always print funnels to create a funnel and create more suction that way and design stuff around that later on in the future. You're gonna need a Phillips for the hardware, okay? A deburring tool, Sharpie, potentially wire cutters with 632 to 440 to 1024, all the little small screw size cutouts here, so that way you could cut the bolts to size depending on the project you're using it for. So this may be needed. If you don't care about having that shaft sticking out of the shank of the bolt, then don't worry about it. I try to keep my stuff nice and neat. I know a lot of people just hack away on this stuff, and that's a no-go with me. I don't like that type of stuff. Okay, 7mm, because the nut's metric for those bolts. And then this is 11/64, somewhere around 1/4 inch bit, because you're gonna need to drill holes out for those fans to fit. Okay, and then your plastic bin. Okay, so let me cue you in on a little secret of why I picked this size and what the purpose of it is for. So you want to taper where it tapers out this way to the top, and the reason for that is so when you're spraying, it's funneling in into a concentrated area, allowing more suction to happen, and also prevent any overspray. Okay, secondly, the reason why I got it in such a long length is because typically when you spray, you go left to right. Okay, I have a Lazy Susan that I'm going to put in here so I could spin it, but I always spray left to right. Up and down, that's okay, but you got to remember gravity. When you're spraying up and down, gravity is going to want to bring everything down. So even consistent flow of left to right will get you a decent look on your part to start with, especially if you're not used to spraying. Okay, and that's just my 2 cents. If you're a professional, you know how to spray, so don't worry about that, right? And if you're a professional, you probably have a spray booth, so it doesn't matter. This video is not for you. So the lengthwise, that's why I got a longer one. Okay, depth, I didn't want it too deep, because when I'm spraying, I don't want my part sitting way back and I'm just misting, you know, my paint onto the part, and then it gets rough spots and all that crap, and it's just more issues, more of a hassle, and it looks like crap. It'll give you a rough texture finish, and it won't be consistent. Shiny dull and all that stuff will happen. So the depth, I try to minimize the depth. I didn't want to go too short, because when you're spraying, your fan typically goes this way, and when you spray, you don't want it to spray. So if I have this, because this is how it's gonna sit facing me, right? No lid. I'm gonna be spraying this way. I don't want no overspray to get on the floor and over this. So that's why I didn't go with the under the bed size tote. Okay, so that's the reason for this size of plastic container that I got. I'll give you the sizes. So this one was bought at Target. The sizes are 35 7/8 length, so this way, okay, and with the width of 16 5/8. So the width, let's see, the width would be, well, if you look at it here, it'd be this, okay, and then 13 3/4 height, so from here to here, and that's the full size of it, okay. So you want to make sure you get a lid too, so that way you can put all your supplies in there when you're not using it, and cover them all up, keep everything together and out of the way. So it latches. It's not airtight like the other box that I bought. The ones that are airtight usually have a seal right here, but you're not going to need that. There's no purpose of having that, okay. Also double check to make sure none of it is cracked, okay. Some of the ones at the store I seen were cracked right away, like around this area. Mine's pretty good. I do recommend buying the hefty ones. They're a little bit more pricey. So if you go to like, if you go to Home Depot or whatever, they have the ones with the yellow lid, but their structure is way more sturdy. This one was like 15 bucks. Ones at Home Depot for a small one about this size, you're gonna be about $15 to $20. For one this large, usually comes with more depth, so keep that in mind. But those you're gonna spend around like $30, $40. But I mean, if this is gonna be used a lot, definitely consider a heavier duty setup. But at that point, you know, you're gonna probably want to build a spray booth if you're doing it more than once or twice a month, you know, because you have a need for it. This is mainly going to be for Cerakote to paint little parts that I have, airbrush or small spray gun type setups. Okay. So first things first, we want to take this out of here and we want to lay them out. Okay. So I'm going to allow for me to put one in the center, one here and one over there, so in the future I could still put one in the center, okay. So I'm going to grab the corners, all right, and then there's this cutout here, a little indentation to keep it rigid. This is where I'm going to start with my first one and do the same over there. I'm already contemplating to get another fan just because this is a larger box, okay. So let's get to marking out the holes, the center hole, and drill that center hole out and then drill all the other 4 holes out. What I did was I found where I wanted to locate it. I located off this edge to here 7 inches. There's a little stamp mark here that has the brand, Target, and made by whoever the brand was. I kind of drilled it out already, so I don't know. Anyways, measured from here to here, that stamp where they pressed it out of the mold, those are already centered up. So use that as your location point and then just drill straight down from there. Okay. Oh, so this hole saw chuck is not the right size for here, or for this setup. Definitely not the right setup size. So it keeps unspinning itself because there's 2 holes right here. There's one right here and one right here. and these pins are supposed to go through there to lock everything in place. There's also a larger setup. You could even use them to push stuff out, but since this chuck isn't for that, it has issues. So it falls on its own because it's not gripping in there, and then it falls out. Anyways, as you can see, we got 2 evenly drilled holes, 7 inches on center, 7 inches on center. I could still put a fan in this area. And these are the pins that I was telling you about that push out the the injection molded plastic bin. Okay. If you don't have a hole saw, or you can't get a hold of one, what you could also do is use a drill bit like such, a little bit bigger. I recommend like 1/2 inch. Drill out holes, 4 holes, and then take a hacksaw, hand blade hacksaw, and you could go around and cut out this plastic because it's real soft and thin, so it shouldn't be too hard to cut that stuff out. Okay. And of course, if you have air tools, it'll make it a lot easier to cut that stuff out, or a Dremel. And at that point, you probably already know how to operate that stuff, so I'm not going into detail about that. Okay. If you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments below. I'll try to help you to the best of my ability, because like you, this is my first spray booth. I was actually going to use a photo booth that I had to create this spray booth, because I paid like 50 bucks for it, and at the moment I'm not using it, so I was going to put it to some good use and try to get a spray booth out of it. But after further evaluation of doing so, because it collapses and everything and it folds up to a flat, but after further evaluation, I figured I'd go this route, because I don't want to deal with anything collapsing, you know, especially when you got parts in there and you're hanging parts. Like say you ran a rod across the top and you're hanging everything. I don't want that stuff to collapse on my my painted part. Okay. So there's our cut holes. What I think I'm going to do is buy some PVC pipe, and this is an idea that I came up with not too long ago. But I'm going to drill a hole here, 1/2 inch hole, 1/2 inch hole here, run a piece of PVC pipe through, and you could epoxy it or whatever it is you want to do to adhere it. Even use PVC pipe glue, that may work, or put a fitting. I think that's actually a better idea. So put a little fitting at the end of here so it doesn't slide all the way through, for PVC, for sprinkler systems, whatever it is. And if you do that and you run that rod across here, now you could hang your stuff off of here with hanger wire or whatever it is you have, and it's going to be permanently in there until you pop off the ends and change it out for whatever it is you want. Or you could even drill holes into that PVC, the rod, and do other things for you to hang wire off of. Okay, but yeah, I think by putting the PVC pipe in there off the ends and having a little cap for PVC would be the ultimate thing to do, only because it's removable on the fly, and you could change up however you want to configure it. You could change it up on the fly really easily without having to worry about taking glue off and stuff. So definitely look into that, and I'm going to be doing that in the future. So my future painting videos that I have, you'll see stuff like that in the video. If if you have any questions on that type of stuff, definitely leaving them in the comments below, and I'll inform you on what I ended up doing to accomplish that stuff. So now what we need to do is drill the 4 holes to mount the fan itself. So like we were talking about earlier, it does show you how to splice the wires and stuff, and shows you basically that you could do that. Shows you a template on how to drill everything out, how you could hang it off a bracket, just different mounting points, and also controllers that you could buy for it, or you could buy the ones with the controllers. So that's what you get in the guide, okay? I don't need none of that stuff. So what I'm gonna do is line this up by using these guards here, okay? Line them up on the circle so I can mark everything out. Should be fairly easy. Okay. I'll take my Sharpie. And of course I like measuring everything out. I don't like guessing. So that's 4 1/4. This one needs to come down. Four and 1/8. 4 1/4. 4 1/8. Okay. So I'm gonna bring them both down like that. Okay. And then you just take your Sharpie and mark the locations of those holes. And that's that. I do recommend when you do this to put the emblem facing down, because there's an offset on these wires. So if it's like this, it slides around. But if it's like this, it kind of helps align it with the ring. So you know the location that you need to put it in, okay? Use your drill bit and drill these things out. Okay, and now assemble it. So these fans, you could either put on the outside like this, make sure the direction is the direction you want it, but you could either put it like this or put them on the inside. I'm gonna put mine on the inside, and I may even use that AC filter stuff to put on top of this meshing, just so I could cover the sides. Maybe not, I don't know yet. But you want to bolt this in. I'm going to bolt it in from the inside, only so that way if I set this thing down on its back, I don't have to worry about these, you know, moving like side to side, getting all scraped up and looking crappy after. Finish the project, go over the little fine details right now, but get what you pay for. You know, bought some cheap stuff here, and these are all individually covered with plastic. So when pulling off the plastic, it got snagged here and it just ripped out. Okay, not gonna sweat it. I'm gonna put another filter or another air suction thing on this side of it right here. So then that's gonna give me 3 fans. These come in a 2-pack. I'll buy another one of these. That gives me another 2, fulfilling the area I need. So no big issue, okay? So that's that. All right, so in order to hold this piece on here, this oil or grease filter here, I just used a magnet because these screens, these meshes are metal. So what I did was I grabbed this. This is the back side, okay, as far as the cover's concerned. The reason why I did this is because this is the one that's going to get hit with all the paint and stuff, so I didn't want it to look tacky. So I put the good side with the emblem and stuff on the back side so it stays intact, okay? So these are able to come off, and then take a magnet. This is those neodymium magnets, whatever you want to call them, neodymium. And then it just sticks like that, and it ain't going nowhere, okay? You could use magnets, you could use this little hook that it comes with. So it has like a little hanging hook right here. So you could drill a hole, put a stud off of there with the bolt, and hang that from it, okay? Whatever your preference is. I'll show you the suction in a moment, okay? And like I said, if you could get a bigger one of these, it's gonna be better, okay? So what I did here was I notched out the bottom with the Dremel tool so I could run the wire to the outside, since the wire is on the inside here, because I didn't want to put my fan on that side, because if I put my fan on that side, I won't be able to set it down without scratching it up and beating it up, okay? So that's all I'm saying, the bigger the mesh, the better, because it's going to cover more. All right, so you're going to get it's kind of hard to show you this, but you're going to get a grill, a bolt, slide it through, and then the part that's going to touch this, there's going to be a O-ring, and that's where you're going to put the washer, so that way it doesn't pick up any vibrations. And on the back side, you put the metal mesh, the grill over it again, and then you bolt it, and I put some Loctite on it so they don't, the nut doesn't unravel, or unthread, I should say, and it stays good. Keep in mind, these stuck out about a 1/2 inch past, and I cut them down, okay? So there's 2 cords here. Eventually I'm gonna splice them together and wire it on a little flip switch. But to show you where I'm at right now, and just to get this paint booth started, because I know budget's a big thing. Keep it cheap as possible, right? Unless you're making money with it. So we're gonna just keep it bare bones here. And when I add that stuff on, as I have painting projects and stuff, I'll show you like the differences and stuff, the add-ons. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plug in this one, show you the suction, and then do the other one and show you the suction with the mesh net. So I haven't tested this out yet. Basically just did test run in the package to make sure they worked. But let me show you what they sound like from the inside and outside, as far as how loud they are, okay? This is what it sounds like with the wind muff, of course, on the outside of the exhaust blowing out. About, let's say, 3 inches away. This is about 1 foot away, okay? Not very loud. And then on the inside, about 1 foot away. And then about 3. Okay. So that's what it sounds like. As far as the suction's concerned, let's see if he'll pull it away from my hand. So it does a little bit, okay? As you can see, it did suck it up against there. Okay, it doesn't pick it up way out here, but it does hold it. So, like as you can see, I'm shaking it and it's not dropping. So it has decent suction. Try this one. So this one's not, dummy. I'm dumb. I've been out in this 100-degree weather. I forgot to turn the other side on. I've in my mind, I already have them connected all in one. But yeah, so there you go. Now let's try the other one. Okay, so this one we'll plug in. Okay, and then as you can see, it did the same exact thing. Okay. Oops. So it does produce pretty good suction. So it should be able to filter out like the thinner stuff. So like oil base might be a little bit hard, but it's spraying in that direction, so it's going to filter it out still. Okay. But water-based paint is a little bit more airborne, thinner, so it should float in these areas a lot better. And then with both of them on, because that's only one, right? So with both of them on, it's going to create more suction in one direction. And then I'm going to add a third one here due to volume, and it's going to add even more. Okay. What I'm going to try to do is maybe try doing reverse polarity, maybe if I can, and maybe flip-flop these motors if it's designed that way. And the reason for that, if I'm able to achieve that, it's blowing a lot of air outward. So if you're able to reverse the fan, right, it's going to draw in a lot more because it's using that blade to, instead of pushing, now it's using that blade to suck a lot more air. And if that doesn't work, I could always add a cone here that funnels it, because when I added this mesh here on, so when I added this on, it created more suction than the standalone fan, because it's creating a vacuum based on the material blocking it. So it's creating more suction, okay? So that's something to keep in mind going forward with this stuff. All right. So that's going to complete today's video. If you like this DIY paint booth, definitely give it a thumbs up. If you want to see content like this and other content I'll be posting here in the near future, definitely consider subscribing. Also check out the other video of my sandblasting booth if you're into booth making for these little DIY projects. And if you're into camping, definitely consider subscribing, because camping videos are going to be coming up really soon, within the next month, I believe. I should have them posted. Okay, all my camping gear that I use, how it's assembled, and stuff that I made to make camping a lot more pleasurable and more convenient. Keeping in mind limiting the space available in your vehicle, and what you need to bring and what you can leave at home. Okay, so definitely consider subscribing. Until next time, I'll see you in the next one.